whole family jumped the fence basically and became vegetarians. But anyway, so some of my great uncles, they were renowned, and there's a lot of organs and churches in the South Island. There's a lot of Sandford organs. They made these organs. They came from England, and my great-great-grandfather was a builder, but his brothers were built organs, although they built the church together. And so there are quite a few Sandford organs in churches still in the South Island. One got destroyed in the Liverpool Museum in the earthquakes. The interesting thing about these organs, they're totally built without nails or glue or anything like that. All tenon and mortise joints and all that sort of thing, and they just fit together. They're made totally out of wood. Anyway, then my great-grandfather and my great-grandfather and their brothers, they moved up to Kaikoura, and they were building up there, and in 1908 they decided they'd buy a block, and they bought a block of land down in Mangapurua, down between Raetihi and Raetihi, and came and settled there. They came up, and I haven't got them here today, but we've got photos of them breaking in the bush. In fact, the area where they settled, if you go down there in September, you go down, g'day Keith, that's a long time no see. It's Keith Kiwi. G'day mate. And there's the part where Tony Workman used to manage a farm across the river, and there's a bridge that was built for some prince who came, and they built this bridge because he had to go down the road to Raetihi. Well, just right opposite there was a paddock and a big bluff, and in that paddock in September, the daffodils come up, and they were daffodils that are the remnants of what my grandmother planted in 1908 to 1912, and so they'll just carry on growing because they left there. They came into town in 1923, so my grandfather had a building business here in 1923, from 1923, and built a number of builders, and in fact their workshop was just down in Duncan Street, still there, right by the vet clinic. So they had a workshop there, and on the left-hand side of it is where they did the joinery, and also we were the undertakers, which Keith Hightown bought when my dad died, the undertaker's business. So my grandfather, as he got older, he'd do the joinery work, and my uncle Doug was really good at joinery, so they'd do the joinery work, and Dad and the other guys stored wires and check prices. They would go out and do all the hard work. And my grandfather made coffins. There's a little showroom. If you look at that building now, a little sort of glass thingy, I might be covered over now. They used to put the coffins on display there, so you could actually choose what you wanted. But anyway, that's then. So my dad was born in 1913 here in town. My uncle Doug and my auntie Marge were born down in Mangapurua. He went to school down there. It was a little wee school on the side of the road, just across the river. So across from the road from the flats where the flowers come up, and also across the river from where Tony Workman's house was. And then my grandparents moved into town. And my uncle Ken and my dad were born and raised here. And my dad went to school at Mangapurua Boys Tech, as did his brothers, and my cousins later, my older cousins, went to school at Mangapurua Boys Tech. But my dad, he used to get terribly homesick, and so he played parents with school. And just a couple of days ago, I thought he actually came up here. And the first time he went, he worked down on the bridge. But he didn't. He was in his mid-20s by the time the bridge was being built. So, but he came back here and started an apprenticeship with his father. So at one stage it was my grandfather, and Mr. Brown left by then, the partnership. And my grandfather, and then he had two of his sons, Uncle Doug, H.D. Sandford, and my dad, Dave, worked for him. Anyway, coming to, I think that's... Yeah, and in fact, my great-grandparents are buried down here in the Raetihi cemetery, as is a great uncle of mine and our father, of course. Our father died in 1957. He was only 43. I've maintained contact with the community, and a lot of you know that back in the mid-80s I started the work that we worked on, it's just still going today. So, yeah, so I'll start going through these photos now. I've got one confession to make. These are all taken, almost all of them are taken off slides that are out of Dad's collection. My dad was a keen amateur photographer, and so from what we understand, all these photos were taken by him. but he didn't work on the bridge. And what we think is, because he had these anxiety problems, like for example, he was conscripted to the Air Force when the war came, that he went down to Burnham and he didn't last long. He just got really wound up about that. So he came back, and so we did double check this because our mum died 15 years ago. But we got a funny feeling, and I sort of vaguely remember Mum saying that Dad didn't work on the bridge because he didn't like the heights. And it sort of sounds crazy because he was a head of search and rescue around here. We went up to help find the carcass that was up on the mountain. Mad keen hunter. He spent a lot of time down Mangapurua and Raetihi pig hunting, a lot of time out around the mountain deer stalking. He was a very keen sportsman, all these sorts of things. But he did have this anxiety problem. And we think that he didn't work on the bridge. He stayed in town and did other work because he didn't want to be working on the heights because it's kind of scary, you know, when you look at some of the photos. It's no doubt you guys have seen. Anyway, so the guts of it is my brother got all these photos together, and then we put them all in an order on a USB stick, and I sent them up about 2 weeks ago to my cousin Keith, who was in Whakaari. And see if Keith had any photos that were different to these that he could add. Because Uncle Dave, you know, we thought he might have some photos. And the USB stick, and I contacted him last week and he hadn't done it. I said, can you do it? And send it down to me in Oakuni, so I figured out yesterday, but it hadn't arrived. So what we've got, so it's all the photos, but they're on my laptop, they're out of order. So it'll be a bit random, and there'll be a couple of random ones in here too that shouldn't be in here, but it doesn't matter. So you're going to see all the photos that we have on the USB stick. But they just a bit out of order. But when I get hold of it again, we're going to donate it to the Society for its records, all these things, because Robin's, my brother, youngest brother, has scanned all these off negatives, and that, you also see that some of them are back to front. And on the USB stick, we turn them around, but these ones are just in their raw state. So this, what you're seeing here, is a part of the work camp. There was a house down there, which I think you'll see later. That reminds me, I don't know if any of you read the book, The Bridge to Nowhere, but that book's misnamed, I think. It's way about the valleys and the settlers. It's hardly all in it about the bridge, and I think that's a shame, because you know most of that book really is about the life of the settlers. It's fascinating. For those of you read it, but those who haven't read it, it's a really good read, really, really interesting. And the bridge is like maybe 4 pages out of 200. Anyway, this is a camp that they had. Yeah. The other thing is, what we've done also, we've actually been able to identify some things by drilling into some of these photos, and Graham's just shown me how I can do it on the USB stick, but he's just shown me how to do it here. Maybe you want to have a closer look. And who's a really good scribe here? I'll tell you why. Because see, this one here is called 12 dot. And if someone like just take notes, if we get to and someone like Gavin says, oh, that's my great-grandfather there, so then we can actually record that so that we can actually match those comments rather than one of you guys going through it all again later and doing it all over again. And especially with such a big crowd here, some of you may see things that, so who's really good at that sort of thing?
I can do it.
You're right. Oh, you got one. Okay, that'd be great, Graham. Thanks. Yeah.
Can we ask questions as you go?
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Which side of the river is that?
That's on the Raetihi side. Well, it's the river's on the other side. It's on this side.
Oh, it's on the eastern side.
Yeah, the eastern side. Sorry. Yep.
And the bridge is behind.
And bridge is in here. Yeah. Yep. So as I say, these are out of order. But one thing that we, is it in there? Yeah, just here. What's interesting, people say, how the hell did they get all that stuff there? But they stuck wires there, and there's I don't know what this got a proper name for it. There's a couple of pulleys on this thing in a frame, and a hook. And so that's how they got stuff out to the middle of the river and you drop things down. It's quite an engineering feat when you think about it. Today, you think how long it takes and how difficult all the machinery you need to do some things. These guys in the mid-1930s built this huge thing there, and all the stuff came in by road. So it didn't come up the river as was commonly thought. It came in by road, all the material. And I said to my Uncle Doug, I said, well, we didn't do welding in those days, so, is it reinforced? And he was years ago. He said, yeah, of course it's reinforced. I said, how you join it? And of course, it happened died. So his job, one of his jobs, was to put a thread on that end and put bloody cap on that end, and then you have to bend all the steel. So it's all done by hand. It's all screwed together. It's actually, I've been told by engineers, that it's actually very, very well made. You know, it's lasted incredibly well. And I suppose it's those olden days. Beautiful. Now, this is one of the random ones, and I think this is the Raetihi bridge that my family built. Oh, thanks, Gavin. Yeah, so they built the bridge just by the rugby club in Raetihi, and I'm pretty positive that's that bridge. That's not what we're looking for. That's my father. When it was pig hunting forays, I'm not sure who these guys are, but that's our father, and they're pig hunting down, it'll be in the Raetihi or Mangapurua somewhere. Another photo, and I think this is the road came from Raetihi down here, and I think that's a guy McDonald's house, I think. So someone help me if I've got it wrong, because there were other photos of McDonald's, so apparently the McDonald brothers, one of them was single, and his house remained unpainted all his life, and he recognised the money. And the married brother had his house was painted, and that's the one that we think that is. But here's a look at all the formwork that they're doing in here. And other thing that's sort of connected, but not. But John Sandford and our family built the dam and the water race, and built the dam and the power station basically. That's out by Gavin's place basically. So all that, and if you look at it, man, we've got old photos of that when it was being built. Holy smoke, how they do that with bloody wheelbarrows and stuff anyway. There's another.
The old swing bridge is right on the left hand side. Yeah, on the old photo.
So, yeah, that's right. So that means so the bridge is up. The swing bridge is uphill, wasn't it? Yeah. So it's definitely the eastern side.
It was made of number 8 wire rope. Number 8 wire.
Yeah, but I think they changed it later. Yeah, it was deadly 8. But it was just twisted number 8. You know, 3 strands of number 8. And they used to take horses across that swing bridge.
All the goods, money.
That's probably typical of, that's some slip, I don't know where. But just obviously out of the rain. Because of course, as soon as there's been a scientific study done of this, but what happened in there was that they did some analysis and they realised that after 15 years, a tree stump only had 10% of the strength that it had when it was first felled. And so what happened was that the tree would be felled because the trees were holding everything together. The first things that went were all the little fine roots that were holding it all together. And then over a period, by the time 15 years was up, it was just basically enough. You could pull a stump out with 10% of the effort that it took when it was first cut. So, and of course, all the root structure gone, and it was all biffed down in the bush. Now, I've no idea who that guy there is, but that's one of the houses that's down there, and in later years it fell into this use. As I said, some of these are not necessarily of the area, but they're not relevant to the bridge so much. There's some construction work. Pretty amazing what they did, and especially when you consider that you've got 100-odd foot drop down there, and feet. That's it. Going around the bluff, a couple of horses and some dogs. You see there. And one of the stories that my cousin Keith told me about, my dad was a really keen hunter, and my cousin Keith's not much younger than my dad, so that my dad used to take Keith out hunting a lot. And Keith said one day, you'll see actually a photo of my father in his old truck, an old Dodge, and they were going down there pig hunting, and my dad had a great big length of 8x2 on this old truck of his, and Keith said, "What's that for, Dave?" And Dad said, "Oh, we might need it." Well, they did, because they're coming down around here somewhere, and Keith said, next thing Dad stopped because the road had slipped away, and so next thing Dad's out there, undoes this bloody bit of timber and puts it across where the drop is, and he got Keith to walk around the other side, and Dad said, you've got to make sure that that wheel stays on the bank and that wheel stays on the bit of 8x2. And Keith said, you couldn't believe it, especially given that my dad sort of did suffer from anxiety things, but I think his desire to go and kill a couple of pigs was greater than his worry about going out down into the gorge. Whoops. Frozen on. Sorry. Oh, That's my grandfather sitting in it. That's again down at the work site. I don't know who those guys are. If any of you got any clues, but that's my grandfather sitting in the wheelbarrow. So, I mean, all that work, like they had electric powered, not electric, a motor on the concrete mixer, but it was only basically a standard concrete mixer. Like, you know, it was like a bowl about that big. It wasn't any big things like they got today. And so they, you know, they'd shovel all the stuff in, and they'd use wheelbarrows to move it. And they're old steel wheel wheelbarrows. It's pretty amazing, really. That's the bridge towards that's a photo. Oh no, that's right. So that's the right way. But this is the western side. Yeah, pretty sure. Yeah. That's a photo that was taken up from back up on the hill on the western side. You see the swing bridge down here. There's a swing bridge. Actually, it's a shame because you remember these are really old negatives, and yeah, so the quality is not brilliant. As you can see, look at all the blinking erosion up here.
Also that big tree that was standing right next door to the bridge for a long time. Yeah, they didn't take that out first.
Yeah. Again, we don't know who this guy is, but there's sort of a formwork for the bridge. I think that's that's taken uphill. I think it's taken from the swing bridge. Looking down. Here's all this blinking steel that my uncle was dealing with. And of course, they had to bend it to put a bit of formwork along here. That's another preliminary photo. That's a bit clearer. There's that dolly thing, whatever you call it. Just taking a bag of something out there. Maybe that's one of the ways they got some of the concrete out initially. Put it into one of those bags and then maybe did like a top dressing, just pull a bloody string or something. I don't know.
And was that motorised? The skyline system?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Definitely, like, this is a cable that pulls it back, that takes it that way, and this one takes it that way. But whether, I would imagine they had to do it, well, it might have been just a hand-operated winch, possibly. Because, I mean, my grandfather took his car down here, and they had a motor on the, like a small, like a little lister, similar to lister on the concrete, they go bop, 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 apparently. But whether they had any other engines down there, I don't know. It's another shot from the this from Riverside. That's the western side. And there's that house that we think was on A. McDonald. I think that's the painted blokes, like the married bloke's house. Oh, there's a concrete mixer there too. See, and there's a couple of guys standing by the concrete mixer. That's the concrete mixer that made all the blinking for that bridge.
They've got a chute running down into that box.
Oh yeah. So they'll probably wheel it around there with their wheelbarrow and come down and go into there. Pretty staggering when you think about that. That's another photo of the formwork. That's taken from the western side, looking across as they were getting it built. I'm sorry these are out of order, but anyway, most of it. You might have seen that photo before. Oh, that's the concrete mixer. There's a couple of guys working on the concrete mixer up there. There's that slide there, that chute.
So how many men were working on the bridge?
Not a lot, maybe half a dozen. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I only think about half a dozen. Here's someone doing something there. And the guy's here with this guy's not sure what's happening here.
What's he doing, Steve? No? He's following.
Probably packing himself up to there.
He's wearing that parachute, of course.
It's just amazing.
He looks like he's pulling the concrete into that.
It is.
Could be camping.
He might have also, or he might have, maybe that's that bag that's come down off, I don't know. It's really hard to say.
He looks like he's got a bucket in his hand.
Yeah. Just here?
Yeah.
They could fill in voids that might happen in the concrete.
Sorry?
They could fill in voids, you know, like a bucket of slurry to keep the moisture away from the steel.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That could be happening, I'm not sure.
Because these are sort of bases for the uprights here, and there. I think we've seen that photo before already. We've seen that one before. I don't think we've seen this one. Here's the swing, is it the swing bridge in the background? No, that's right.
No, it's above it there.
It's above it.
It's looking down the river.
someone standing up there, of course. No idea who that might be.
How big is the drop there?
Hmm?
It's about 100 feet, isn't it?
There? Yeah.
In the middle of the east.
Yeah, it's 114 feet from here. So he's on, he'll only fall about 30 feet on the bank. He bounced down the river.
No safety gear, of course.
Oh, look at that. I wonder my dad didn't like the idea of it. Oops, sorry. We saw that one before. No, we didn't.
That's when they dropped the boxing ring.
When they dropped the boxing ring and fell into the river.
Yes, another photo of that. I think that's the eastern side. There's another house there. That other house that we've seen is up here. There's another house that's there.
Mm.
There's the concrete mixer again.
Mm.
Pretty standard sort of concrete mixer.
So where did the metal come from, do you know?
Yeah, came from Raetihi. Came down from down Martin Way, somewhere, Taihape Martin. Because there was no decent metal up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
There's a few scenes that someone talked about a metal area by Bennett's house. In one of the things I looked at.
yeah, that's right. But apparently the metal for the bridge came, the volumes they needed came from the Raetihi.
Metal crushed, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah.
It's probably what they call a quarter-yard mixer. And it carried a 100-weight bag of, or 100-weight of cement, which was 112 pounds, in a hopper. Arguably a mechanical hopper that lifted up the out of the water, arguably.
I think maybe. I mean, even when I was a boy, I still remember lugging lots of those bloody cement bags.
Yes, well they used to break one into the hopper per quarter-yard batch.
Right, yep. And so many buckets of water, and then see, that's the other thing. Where'd they get the water from? Probably piped it from some spring. Now that's actually getting rid of the boxing. Dropping the boxing, coming away from the I don't know what you call that, but sort of span. And there's these tents around the corner. Shop. There's a river down the bottom. So that's they're now forming the actual bed of the bridge. Because I've done all this stuff.
Who was paid with work to be done?
Sorry?
Who was paid with work to be done?
The government. It was, in fact, it was interesting. They had a labour-only contract. The contract was about something on the round figures, £900 to do the labour for the bridge, and the transporting and all the material, not the cost of the material. There's no record of that, but the material, the transport of that came to about a similar figure. But what happened? They had massive storms in the middle of making the bridge, and so my grandfather had to abandon the job and bring all the men off, pay them off, all sorts of things. And in fact, in the Bridge to Nowhere, there's a letter that he wrote to the Ministry of Works or whatever, saying, look, guys, through no fault of our own, this has happened, so we need more money to finish the bridge. And so they agreed. And by then, too, labour rates had gone up. I think they're paying the guys £1 shilling and 5 pence. How do you say that?
1 and 5.
Yeah, 1 and 5 pence an hour. And when they had got back, then they had to give a rate of 1 and 10. 1 shilling and or something. Whatever. Yeah, 1 shilling and 10 pence. That's right. Jesus, that's confusing. Yeah, 18 cents an hour or day or whatever it was. And so the government actually agreed to pay my grandfather more money. And by then, Mr. Brown had left the partnership. I think the stress of it all was just too great for him. He has actually worked for the railways. No relation of yours, I don't think, Gavin, wherever Gavin is, eh? No. Not any relation. He was a guy that was working around the district as a bridge builder. And he came from Denniston, the Denniston mine, that you might have heard about down the South Island. And worked on the Mangapurua Society. And my grandfather brought him in as a junior partner because they were getting bridge work to do. Like they built the bridge just here. That was another bridge they built. And Brown joined him as a junior partner. But, from what I can read, Mr. Brown left the partner and my grandfather brought him out because he was just too stressed about it all because of the risks. And so, long answer to the question, but it actually cost about £1,200 it ended up costing. The cartage was still the same, but the actual labour cost about £1,200, something like that.
Mum used to talk about the metal coming from Raetihi.
Yeah.
It came up by rail to the railhead.
Yeah, that's right.
And then they trucked it out.
Yeah, that's right. And in fact, we used to think that the steel came up from Whanganui up the river, but again, I think that's just a family legend. That it actually did come up again, went across the Martin and up to the railhead just down here. Where they are dropping the
Frame.
dropping the trusses, and there's that big house there. This, the McDonald apparently. Oops, pressing the wrong button. Oh, there's some men up there. Haven't seen that photo before. That almost looks like a bloody timberjack. Oh, maybe not. But anyway, oh, that might be just I don't know what that big bit of timber is behind that bloke.
Might be a shoot.
Yeah, but anyway, whatever it is, there's three guys there.
Can I make a comment on that boxing?
Yeah, sure.
Many years ago when I first went down to the valley, the first thing I did was go underneath and have a look at that, what's now positive detail, but that boxing will have negative detail on it.
Mm.
So to impart a chamfer on your concrete, which all those archers have, they had to put a fillet on that boxing right the way across.
Wow.
And then the concrete is poured against that, the negative detail, to form the positive you see on the finished bridge. It's a thing of beauty. And the fact is that your family were piano builders or organ builders, it starts to make sense. Because it's a thing of beauty.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, well, I never thought about that, but you did right. Yes, and somewhere we've got some drawings that our grandfather had, but we don't know where they are yet. But we'll find that some of the drawings of the actual
It'd be wonderful
drawings
to see them.
Yeah. Now that's somewhere up there, but some of you might recognise it. There's a waterfall in there. It's down there somewhere. Now this will be, there's obviously on a riverboat coming up, and I'd say that was taken in the 1930s, given the clothing, etc. There's someone's got down, probably my dad. He wouldn't have, I don't think he'd have taken the river one, but there's a lot of these with him. And that's the old swing bridge. And in fact, you can almost, that's the arch of the bridge here. Little slip. Rode in. There's a, I think we saw that photo before, didn't we? No idea who that is, but I think there was a man who was like the Ministry of Works equivalent boss. And in fact, I've got a funny feeling that might be back to front because the road went around here to the landing. Sorry?
It's got to be back to front, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. We've actually got other photos which I wasn't able to find because I've got a lot of photos in boxes, but more of our father. But when he met my mother, and he took it down there pig hunting, believe it or not. So then you've got my mother standing there on the bridge up to her waist in licking grass, and Dad take a photo of her, and then their mum obviously took one. Dad, he's standing there with his waist in grass, but from his perspective it was great because the only things that travel across there were goats and pigs. And it was great, he just loved going down there because it's such good pig hunting.
Working there, skimmed all that grass off.
Oh, okay. Great. So that's coming round. That's the right way around. That's round to Mangapurua landing. Another shot of that. That's a back to front one. That's a nice clear one, isn't it? Oops. This is one of the random ones. That's actually our mother. That's up at the hospital up the road. And I've got to show that to Jessie Seaman because she's told us who this one of these ladies is. I think that lady. She knows that I need to give her a bigger photo because she couldn't see it on my phone. But Jessie Seaman was living here when my mother came to town, and Jessie and my mother shared a room up at a nurse's home for a year or two until Jessie got married. on the river. That's one that my dad took from Raetihi in 1946. And I think that's the doctor's, the place the doctor had. It's on the corner that, who bought it since, that there was the doctor's surgery house was there. So that's looking across from our backyard. And that guy there, that little hut there was, I think, no, I should know. It was my grandfather. This is Duncan Street going up here. Right. Sorry
Was
about that.
that the eruption in the background?
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I took the photo. So 1946, I think it was, when the Ruapehu erupted. Nev Mosen, we got some fantastic photos that Nev Mosen took. He was a bootmaker, and Nev Mosen was a really keen amateur photographer, and my dad, Nev was better than my dad. So they used to often share photos. And Nev would go hunting and hiking even with my dad, and some amazing photos. This one again is a random, but some of you, if you're old enough to remember, when Dad was still alive, obviously, he was the head of the search and rescue, and some guys had gone down to Whanganui for a few beers, and they were coming back, and that's a Land Rover, and down the Parapara, was a place, they couldn't have found a bigger place to fall off. And I think no one got killed. One of the guys ended up with his bloody head under the wheel of the hub of the Land Rover. And I remember Dad getting the call, and they were out sort of 1 o'clock in the morning, went down there and they were away for about 36 hours hauling the guys out of there. I think there were 4 of them in it, but none of them got killed. But that's a long way down. Anyway, so I would say that's somewhere down the Ruapehu. Does anyone know? Yes, I don't know.
It's Mangapurua.
Is it? Yeah, possibly. Anyway, again, another random photo. That'll be a local person. I don't know where it's taken, but we one of my dad's mates. I don't think it's my dad. It doesn't look like it. There he is. And there's that truck that he got Keith. They had the piece of timber. And so when I was a kid, that was our family vehicle. And then they made it. Then Dad bought a Bedford in 1953 or something. And that pig hunting down the Raetihi, Mangapurua Society. And but he and George Chan, Dad cut it down and made a saw bench out of it. And George Chan used to go pig hunting with Dad, and they used to cut firewood for the Kosita. My dad was a really keen member of the Kosita, and they used to also go, Dad and Pat Rongadui, who used to live out Tākahi, used to go, what do you call it? Not smuggling, burgling basically, trout, anyway, and then they raffle off. No, nets. They used to net. One day when I was little, I was about 6, and we had a long garage down on Balance Street, and our Bedford was backed in, and normally it was on the outside, because we had also had a Volkswagen Combi van, and that Mum drove that. The Combi was on the outside, and the truck, what the hell? I was sort of wandering there. I looked up and there's Dad and Mr. Romano, and Dad said, "No, go away, John, go away." There's all these trout on the tray of the truck. They were busy gutting them and getting all the roe and putting them in a bag. And so that's how I learned that my dad and Mr. Rongadui were, what do you call them? Poachers. Yeah, poaching. But anyway, that's our father. And again, I think that's one of the wisest. That's a wise. Don't know who that boy is. That's Mum and Dad. It looks pretty formal. Maybe that's their going away when they got married in 1945. But I'm positive that's a wise, but I don't know which one. Do you have any idea? No. You could argue that it's one of the Browns too, couldn't you? But I don't think even the Browns were that age. I think that was a wise. That's a house. Again, this is one of the random photos. I have no idea where this is. It's around here somewhere. And the clue will be that building there. Oops. These were from my stepfather's place. We bought a house years ago. And just for what it's worth, that's Peter Jones, that some of you might remember. And that's me, and that's a guy called Gary Worsley. And his father worked at Reynolds, I think it was, a mechanic. Peter Jones' parents, they lived just down the road from us. And that's the back of our place. That's our wash, our laundry, or whatever you call it these days. But we had Mum had a copper and that. And one day, I went out one morning and I opened the wash house door, but normally it wasn't closed. Nearly Lincoln died of fright because a whole lot of piglets in there. They had been pig hunting and they killed the sow, and then his mates, they grabbed the piglets and brought them home and they had them in there. There's a road completely washed out. That's down at Papariki, of course. Got the old cars there. That's the way of getting across the river. I'm not sure where that will be, but might be going across the Paranui or something like that. Yeah, it looks like it, eh? Because there's a herd punch had a property across the river.